Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Board Game Geek Show for August 23rd, 2019. I'm your host, Scott Alden. And once again, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lincoln Damerst, Steph Hodge, W. Ark Martin, and holy cow, Rodney Smith is here.
I'm back.
Hey, everybody. So has anybody heard anything controversial in the board game industry in the past week? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, moving on to our Board Game Geek news. We launched our rebranding for the new website and redesigns of sorts. So we're all very excited to have that finished. And we're moving on to more parts of the website. In fact, I'm right now, as we speak, working with Kyle, our designer, and working on some responsive pages for some of the old legacy stuff, like the front page. So it works on your phone. So that's exciting. And we're having good progress.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. But we're back from Gen Con, and we got like a lot of compliments, and everybody thought that the new brand and the new colors were very sharp, very modern, clean. We hope you like it. We all do.
Hey, look, I'm sporting the hat right now.
But yes, we're very excited, and we're moving forward, and we're doing more stuff, and we're going to Essen soon.
For SPIEL.
SPIEL, Essen. In Essen.
That's right.
Germany.
We are going to Essen, yes, where we will attend SPIEL. So the SPIEL 19 preview so far is close to 600 titles. I'm trying to work my way through Pegasus right now, which is like 50 titles on its own.
Oh my goodness.
Because Pegasus just has a ton of stuff. Now, of course, a lot of it for the US market already exists. And these are now German editions of things coming out. So it'll be new for that market, but not new for everyone. That's kind of the dilemma sometimes of what gets added to the preview and what's not. People debate whether, this should be included, this shouldn't, whatever.
Right. I have to say, this year's Gen Con was very full of what I would call Euro type games. So that we won't be as surprised at SPIEL. So people are releasing games more early now instead of waiting to SPIEL.
It started happening a year or two ago where a lot of European publishers were now attending Gen Con and either previewing or just launching the game and having it available on the US market. Because, of course, if you're aiming for Gen Con and you miss, you can still launch something at SPIEL. Yeah. If you aim for SPIEL and you miss, you are out so much money. It's terrible. So you shift production a little bit by a couple of months, and then ideally you can hit both markets and have something debut on two continents a couple months apart and pick up lots of sales that way.
That's been my frustration with Gen Con for the longest time anyway, where it's been a super soft release for Essen. This was absolutely like Black Angel was, we heard only like 240 copies. They kept bringing more copies every day, and then they finally ran out.
Maybe it was 240 a day. I don't know. It could have been. It's a big box.
Yeah.
In the past, they would have brought 50, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
In the past, they would have brought 50, it'd be gone on the first day. This year, they had like 50 per day. So.
Oh, they had more than that. They actually were shipping stuff in. They sold a lot of copies of that game.
It's funny you mentioned that because, I was talking with Stefan Brunel from Repos, how he worked at Asmodee at the time. And back in 2012, they had 50 copies of Seasons. That was it for their launch of Seasons, was 50 copies, which is just... It's crazy to think about.
That feels woefully low.
Well, you're just testing the market out. And again, it was a preview for what is coming at SPIEL. It wasn't officially the launch. It was kind of get it in the hands of some people who were going to talk about it. But now it's just, no, we can sell hundreds. So let's do it. So Lookout debuted with a bunch of things, the Barron Park expansion and Foothills here after debuting on the UK Games Expo, which is also kind of like a SPIEL launching pad now.
Was Neom available?
Neom was not for sale at SPIEL. Mandala was not out yet. That was supposedly going to be there and then didn't show up in time. Patchwork Doodle was there. There are a few other things. Mystery House from Cranio Creations was going to be demoed. Turns out it was for sale.
That was a surprise. When I saw that in the Hot Games room, I was like, what? Kind of like, wow.
Yeah, we didn't get it on camera just because initially we had it for demo, not for availability, so we didn't record anything. I know we have some copies going on the cruise, so maybe you can play it on the cruise and talk about it later.
Yeah, so on the last day of Gen Con, I walked around that Hot Games area and just wrote down, I limited myself to like 50 games, but I wanted to probably bring 100, right? But we don't have the space, so.
That's right, or the time.
All going on the cruise. It's already there. It's already in Miami. All right, anything else about SPIEL, Eric?
We are working on the live stream schedule already. Doug Garrett is in charge of the scheduling. I'm doing the preview. He's doing the scheduling. We're sort of working together and trading information. We are maybe a third full at this point, possibly
Wow.
40%. There's already a lot. We're sort of first come, first serve. There's a lot of things that are not quite, because if a game isn't listed in the database, we want to make sure it's going to have a listing and we can actually know it's for sale and get everything coordinated that way. It's an encouragement to get your games into the database. Get it on there, and then we'll schedule you. So it's just sort of, poke the donkey. So that's rolling along. We will undoubtedly fill up. We will have a waiting list. That is going to happen. If you are a publisher who has not submitted games yet, perhaps you should do so if you want to schedule time on our live stream.
I thought the live stream at Gen Con went pretty good too. I mean, our production side of things has improved quite a bit. There's some new equipment there. It was nice because the contraption that holds up the lights didn't look like it was going to kill us this time, which was awesome.
Always an improvement.
Sometimes it's a little precarious, but
That's right. Only the tall people who are going to hit their heads on.
that's right.
I think we have finally cracked that audio nut. You don't hear the crowd noise as much.
With the low sensitivity, definitely helps for
Yeah.
sure. Finally, something.
Secret sauce finally figured out.
Yeah, we still have to plan for Essen or SPIEL. We haven't even thought about what we might be doing, because we changed everything. We got rid of the projector and had a television that showed the Geek Buzz, and
Which looked magnificent.
it did look great. That whole Kyle did a fantastic job on the redesign of that, so it just looked wonderful. And we want to see how much that we can actually bring to Essen. So we'll see here.
Well, the year is speeding along for sure. Before we wrap up Essen talk, I should mention that the preview does have pre-orders turned on. I think there's a smattering of games already available for pre-order to pick up at the Spiel in Essen. And then we're going to have the Cardboard Caravan. That's coming soon. So if you cannot make it to Spiel, we're going to have pre-order for pickup at BGG Con and direct mail. So if you want to buy some games that Fun Again is going to bring back, we're calling Caravan, make sure to check out the preview for that. That's going to go live this week, or did go live this week. I always forget we record in the future here. We're time travelers. So yeah, check that out. And you can pre-order for pickup at BGG Con or direct mail, which is kind of exciting. That's a new thing.
And where do you find that? Is that in the same place as the pre-orders, or is that somewhere
Yeah, that'll
else?
be under the Essen Spiel preview for 2019. Yeah, and going forward, we're going to have that some interesting things coming along with that. So I'll hold mum for that for now, but make sure to get your pre-orders in early. Stuff sells out. I think one of the pre-orders already sold out, if I'm not mistaken. One of the bigger ones. Drawing a blank on who it is. I'm sure it was some great game that you can't buy now. Sorry.
In pre-order, anyway.
In pre-order, yeah. I'm sure they'll have more of that to show. Okay, what have you been playing? Everybody's favorite segment. Steph, I know you've been playing a lot since Gen Con, so let's hear some of the highlights.
Oh my goodness. I have been playing everything. All the roll and writes that came out of Gen Con, I've been loving those. But I wanted to focus in a little bit on a new one called the Artemis Project. I think this has been in development a little while, because I remember seeing it, I think it might have been launching on Kickstarter last year or something, and I saw it at Gen Con last year. And so this is a dice worker placement game. For theme, I'm really bad about, but you take place in 2300s or something, and you're living on Jupiter, and they're making it all work from under the icy waters, and then so you're building up your.
Is it cities or countries or civilization?
Yes.
Yes, to all of the above.
It's sort of a civilization. Yeah, they're just kind of terraforming Jupiter, if you will. But you're using dice.
I'm surprised they didn't call it terraforming Jupiter.
Yes, you know what I mean. So it's cool because you're managing resources. It's a little cutthroat to try and beat people to spaces, but if you place a 4, somebody else might place a 3 to collect resources before you, because it goes little to high to collect the resources you need. So it's all this management. It's very Euro-y, so it has that Euro feel, even though it can be a little bit mean at times.
So is it worker placement, or what's sort of the main mechanism in the game?
Yeah, so it's worker placement. You place all your dice. Well, you roll your dice, and then you place all your dice, and you keep doing one at a time. And so you might want to go for this building over here, but somebody might place a higher die. So then you have to figure out if you have that many resources to buy it. and then you could try and populate your buildings, put the people to work, and yeah. You get this little cool like spaceship canister to like shake your meeples out. It's funny.
So it's dice worker placement, but if you place lower, you go first.
Well, so there's different locations, right? So if you were to collect energy or the titanium or whatever the other resources, if I place my 4 die there, I can collect 4 of those resources. But it only gets resolved after everybody's placed all their dice. So you might sneak in and put your 3 there before my 4 to collect 3 before I can collect 4. And if there's only 6 there, we each get 3 or something. You know what I mean? Or somebody might put a 1 and then a 2, and then you're like, I'm all out.
Right.
So you have to kind of see what other people are doing and judge your timing appropriately.
And I remember the art being pretty cool with that game. Is the art inside the box as cool as that cover?
Yeah, it is. It's all really cool. And so there's only 6 rounds, and so there's events that are happening, and we only saw like a very few buildings, very few events. So there's so much, you can't know what you're going to see in the game because there's just so much variability there. So it's cool. Fans of dice worker placement games would like this. So what have you been playing, Lincoln?
I got to play Obscurio again. I did play it in April with Scott and an obvious trader. Scott was not the obvious trader.
I was not.
He wasn't my game.
No, it was a different obvious trader.
But we played it with 6, which was actually pretty exciting. And it's it's very beautiful. It's designed by L'Atelier, which is designer studio in French, I guess, or designer's workshop. But it's from Libellud, and I guess that's what they do. They're basically a studio that just designs games. And it's kind of like Mysterium, where you are describing what is happening with other cards. Like you're trying to determine the door to each of these. We're students in a school, and we're trying to find the door for each one of these with 6 or 7 different circles of these beautiful illustrations. And you're voting as a group with 1 trader in the group and then 1 person that is your guide to try to get you through these. You're voting and trying to figure which one of these is the one that leads us to the next step. And of course, the trader can screw things up, although they can also just play along, right? It's actually not that difficult to be the trader. You have to be really observant because the trader is very difficult to find. I mean, maybe at least in our game. Again, like I said, the one in April, it was very obvious. And I don't know if it was the person or truly the person was doing a bad job. Scott says they were doing a bad job. I think I targeted the guy just because I like to target that guy. And
that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of rough, but the game is actually really very similar to other types of games like this. But the trader element, which is Scott really loves it. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. It's actually interesting, but it's sort of difficult to figure out what's going on. They can absolutely just play along and you would never guess them. For example, in my game, I was the guy that was like, yeah, we need to spread out. Go ahead. I'll move over there. So at the end of the game, I'm the guy that's the trader. I'm like, I only, and I think it was Aaron that was blaming me. And I'm like, Aaron, I was doing what you told me to do. You're saying we should have coverage. And I think he and I were both...
If you talk too much, you're the trader. If you don't talk at all, you're the trader. So you have to do it perfectly.
I mean, that's how every one of those types of games are. So, and that's okay. But man, is it gorgeous.
It's so pretty.
I know that Scott played it at Gen Con as well.
So I played it twice at Gen Con. Nice. I liked it that much, which is very hard to do, right? Because you have limited gaming time.
Absolutely. Only the evenings.
But and I played once with Steph.
It was so fun.
I played with you too.
Yeah, I played with Steph, and
Matthew was the villain in our game.
Yeah, Matthew Dunstan.
Matthew
but
Dunstan,
I was the book in that game, right?
Right. It's the book.
But in the game with Steph, I was the trader and she was the book.
Yeah, I love
or the tome or whatever it is. Yeah, so
what's the trader trying to do? Just cause you to lose?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are these little tokens, and if you run out of tokens, the whole table loses except the
trader.
Oh
boy, did we lose tokens too.
Yeah, you lose a lot of tokens.
So Mysterium, you said it's kind of a comparable game. Is this harder to win then?
Oh my god, it's impossible to win. It's impossible.
Okay.
Except as the trader, perhaps.
Well, we also played on normal level. You could play on an easier level, and you can afford more mistakes.
It is tough. I mean, the trader is very difficult to find. It is, and that's what I mean. That is what's the challenge of the game. I know that's Scott's favorite thing of it. I almost would rather just play Mysterium, but it is neat. There's some really cool stuff going on, especially because here's what's going on. You're drawing out of the bag random things that screw with you as a team. So
That's why it's harder.
Yep, they're the worst because something could change. You put a red clear screen over the art, gets rid of all the color, which, believe me, is really painful.
It's
and
really
then there's
painful.
There's another one that's got these swirls on it that obscures stuff on the cards, and you can't see the things. I mean, it's insane. Those are actually much worse than I think the trader is.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And you need to find the trader in order to win?
No, you just need to exit.
You need to exit, exactly, yeah.
And I guess you just need to ignore the trader.
There's an interesting mechanism in the game, though, that I have not seen in any other trader games. There's a point in the game where you must find the trader, and you must get them out of the game.
Well, that's that break point, right?
There's a break point when if you lose so much life essence, you have to basically find the trader to get them out. And I had never seen that in a game before, where you just keep re-voting. Like if we all vote for you, Eric, and you're not the trader, we lose 2 essence, tokens, and then we have to vote again.
Yes. And then you still have to exit with the tokens you have left. Ah!
Which I had never seen that in a trader game before. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty great.
Sometimes you we think you're the trader, you vote for them, and they're not the trader, then you just keep playing, right? Like that's a lot of games have been like that.
So this will shorten the clock.
I thought that was pretty cool. And you can basically just lose the game right there.
It's
because
not
if
very
we
long.
Don't catch the trader, we just lose. We're going to lose life until we
the game's like 45 minutes basically. It's fast, it's really quick.
Faster if you lose fast.
Yes.
So something that might clarify this whole thing about the shrouded cut of the game, it's Mysterium type cards. I don't know if that I know you said that, but like there's so many
Libellud is really good at that
things.
kind of thing. So like One Key and Shadows Amsterdam, they have all that amazing collective art on cards.
Oh man, the art is so gorgeous. It's just ridiculous.
Everything
it's
they
like
do.
Dixit. All those things have such fantastic art.
Yeah.
And one more awesome thing about the game. I love this game, by the way. It's
I love
definitely
this
going to be in
game,
my
too.
top 10 of the year.
Couldn't tell.
It has magnetic arrow pointers.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. The production
point
is amazing.
to things in the pictures, so you can isolate like a flame or a key
and pass
arrow.
it around and not have it fall
Yeah,
off.
and they pass them around and they don't slide, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's magnetic. It's awesome.
Yeah,
That
we
is
were
really
figuring that out. We're like, hey, these feel like they're magnetic, and then of course somebody tried to spill it. And they are magnetic. It's amazing.
And the insert has a whole extra space for a whole bunch more cards, so I'm hoping that means expansions.
Yeah, we went through almost the entire deck in one game.
But it's okay
Wow.
because you don't focus on one. I mean, you're not focusing on the entire card. You're focusing on just little aspects
Elements,
of cards.
yes, that's true.
So that's. I feel like there's a lot of replay there because I don't even know.
Unless it's the one that tells you to focus only on the card,
well, yeah.
the trap. One card. It's the worst.
The
Traps are
trap
terrible.
cards where they're upside down and you're like,
I don't
know.
think we ever got the blank. We always got something terrible.
Another
single time.
cool. I can't stop gushing.
That's so good.
As the
Somebody
team
stop
is
'em.
debating, as the team is debating which door is the exit, timer going.
Timer.
And every time you flip the timer, you add another trap to the next level.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So you can
So
sit there and
hard.
talk for 3 minutes, but if you do, you're going to get 3 traps in the next turn.
I get what you're saying, Steph. It does sound impossible.
It's so hard.
So cool. It's such a great design. I love it.
What have you been playing, Eric?
So I have skipped right past all this Gen Con nonsense, right? You got to get to
He
work on
doesn't believe
Spiel.
it.
Only 500 games to skip.
So I've been, we got things to preview here. So I've been playing Bloomtown by Asger Harding Granerud and Daniel Skjold Pedersen. This is from their own company. So they publish a lot independently or through other people. Now they have their own company called Sidekick Games, with Bloomtown being their first presentation. It's a 2 to 4 player town building tile laying game. You've seen things like this before. Quadropolis is the most obvious comparison. What's different though is this game plays much faster than Quadropolis, and you have to just roll with that and plan for it. I played 3 times with 2, 3, and 4 players, and all of them have ended more quickly than I thought. So you just have to prepare for that. You have 5 types of buildings. They score all different ways. You're trying to put things next to one another or in chains or different things or whatever. All the usual sort of town building stuff where shops are valued one way and offices another way and so on. There's bonuses where they score again if you draw that tile twice from the stack, because you're playing a tile, draft one from the market, and then a new tile comes off the top, and maybe it'll be something that scores. So you're trying to build up things that score while trying to build things that work together, while trying to keep a valuable tile in your hand at the end of the game, because you will score for one of the two types of buildings that you keep in your hand. So it's very quick with a lot of things sort of intersecting in how they work.
Sounds just the game for me.
Yeah, I'll do a preview video at some point in the future. Maybe play it a few more times now that I'm a little plan ahead with what we're trying to do. There's things on the board, spaces on the board that are green where you can either double your points or play again. And it seems like really you just want to play again to take advantage of putting more stuff down, just because you're going to end up with a lot of empty spaces on the board anyway, because the game is short. It ends, you have those 5 stacks of tiles in the market, and it ends when 2 or 3 of the stacks are empty based on the player count. And of course, if you're drawing all from the same stack, boom, game ends, even with 15 tiles not used. But of course, if those are the tiles you want, then you're going to draw from that. Yeah, and you're going to accelerate the end of the game. So you're watching what other people take. You're drafting based on where you play on your own board. So that's all tied in as well. So it's an interesting little nesting set of decisions and interactions that just drive through, and then, the game's over. Oh, okay. So
Eric, you're going to have a fuller preview of this.
I plan to do a video every Monday from now through Spiel. I will probably end up doing 2 videos a week if I can keep on top of this dragon.
It's a lot of
Weird.
games.
There's a lot of stuff coming in. Just arrived today. New roll and write from Schmidt.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
so gut from Anka and Marcus Brand. All right, part of their Klein and Fine line of tiny little roll and writes. More stuff coming in. We'll cover what I can as quickly as I can. And then it's dead to me.
What have you been up to, Rodney?
Well, I'm recording here, which is not normally where I record for these shows with you guys, because I'm in the middle right now of recording the tutorial for Tapestry, which is the new game coming from Stonemaier Games and designed by Jamey Stegmaier. And so I thought I would try to give you a very quick overview of how this works. You ready?
Ready.
Sure.
All right,
No.
Here we go. In Tapestry, every player is controlling their own civilization. And everyone starts with one of these boards here. These are all the same for everybody. And it has a few income tracks here at the top that for food and farms and villagers and things like that and culture. And actually, you have a whole bunch of like these plastic pieces and 3D little components that will cover up many of these spots. So they would go here and just cover up the spaces, all right? And over time, you will take actions that will remove them from these tracks, revealing the symbols underneath, and then place the buildings onto these things. Everyone has their own capital city. This is like an enlarged view of your actual capital city on the map board here. So you're going to then move the buildings off of your income tracks and put them into these spaces here. And filling up the spaces will give you benefits. Completing rows and columns will also give you points. And there's these like larger buildings that fill up the spaces even faster. So you want to pick up all these cool little 3D things here to plunk into the spaces as well as another way of gaining points. And I said there's this whole board here in the center of the table. Yes, because you've got your capital city, and from there you'll be able to explore and sort of spread out across the map. And all of this is going to take place over a course of turns where you're really just taking 2 possible actions. One action is called an income action, which sort of launches each new era of your civilization. But the rest of the time, you're going to be taking these advance actions. And they call them advance actions because around the outside edge of the board, there's these 4 tracks. And here, let me just lift this up so you can, that was a mistake. So you can see there's like a track like this. This is the military track, okay? And so you could advance your token along here. And as you advance, you're gaining these new benefits. But there's all kinds of tracks. So the tracks I focus on might not be the ones you focus on, or we might do similar things. And there's a little bit of a race along the tracks in some ways because that's what unlocks all these crazy buildings and gives you those to add to them. So you're advancing along these tracks, and eventually you'll run out of resources to advance along it, and that's when you'll sort of launch a new era. And every civilization has their own little civilization board. There's 16 of these, and so this gives you kind of your own unique ability and special power type of thing that you'll use throughout the game as well. And there's all kinds of technology you could research for your civilization here giving you other benefits. There's these tapestry cards over here, which you add to your income board, sort of telling the story of your civilization. Like perhaps you're going to engage in socialism. Maybe you'll be Canada, you'll be socialism, or the Dark Ages, or Age of Sail. All these little things are going to continue to sort of color your civilization in terms of what it's doing and what it's representing. And of course, there's a whole thing in a map here where you can explore, add new tiles to the map. If you get high enough on the exploration track, you can even go to space and then get, visit other planets. So there's just a whole variety of different things all packed into quite a large box. This is a pretty decent sized box here with all kinds of beautiful artwork. I'm actually trying to avoid reviewing because there's a little embargo right now on reviews, but I just wanted to give you kind of a sense of what you're doing. So it's really about sort of figuring out what's the right strategy you want to pursue across the various tracks in response to what everyone else is doing. Because all of these things are going to give you points, and of course, at the end of the game, you want to have the most points to win. Okay, I think that's that's a high-level overview of most of what's going on in Tapestry.
Sounds amazing.
You started with this very simple framework, and then it was like, and then this, and then this, and
yeah. Well, again, like
layers.
It really comes down to the tracks around the outside edge of the board, and there's a really great reference sheet that comes with the game that shows you the exact tracks and then tells you what everything does. Now, this looks like a lot, but the reality is once you understand a couple of the key symbols, the rest of it becomes relatively easy to interpret. So my hope is between the reference sheet and the tutorial video that I'm releasing, it should be pretty clear how to play the game once people get their hands on it.
Rodney, I did hear you say great reference sheet.
Uh-oh, sorry. This is a reference sheet.
There you go.
Its
Okay.
quality
Good.
is up to
No
you to
adjectives
decide.
allowed, Rodney.
That's right. Shoot, I slipped up.
When's the embargo lifted for that?
I believe early September will be for reviews, because Jamey wants to give people a chance to actually have time to play the game. And sometimes for reviewers, I'm not in the review space, but for those who are, there's often a rush, right, to get the review as quickly as possible. And maybe you've played the game once or read through the rules or whatever. So this gives everyone some breathing room, so there's not like this rush to be the first out of the gate with a review, right? I think it's a pretty smart tactic, honestly, and hopefully it improves the quality of the analysis of the game when it releases.
When is it going to release?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay.
I forget when this game actually releases. I know I'm going to have the tutorial done. It should already be online, and unless something goes horribly wrong by the time that people are watching this, it should have just gone up a couple days beforehand, hopefully.
What have you been playing, Scott?
I've been playing something Steph previously talked about. I finally got a chance to play. It's Cartographers, and it's fantastic. And I think how we go through eras of board games, like
Sure.
themes, I guess. Like we've had micro games, right? That was the most recent. Now I think we're into the rolling right, flipping right, something random and right. That's the new era for sure. There's so many game spaces there, and I'm always surprised that like another one comes out and it's so different than everything else that's come out. Although this one is very similar to another game I played called Penny Press or Penny Papers.
Penny Paper Adventures, yeah.
Penny Paper Adventures. It's a little like that, but not quite.
It's a little like that.
Little bit, but it does have player interaction. So a lot of the roll and write stuff is solo-ish, right? Like you roll the dice and everybody's doing their thing. This one has interaction. You are a cartographer. So you're drawing a map of the lands of your realm, I guess. And
you get to draw in your own sigil.
It's really cool because you get to fill out your little sigil.
All your names and everything.
Your coat of arms, and you can fill in your name, like Aldi the Surf. That was my name.
Nice.
The former surf?
I'm just a surf. Just a lonely surf.
Ordinary average surf.
But yeah, so you flip up a card, and it gives you a terrain type. It actually gives you choices. It'll be like this terrain or this terrain, like the swamps, right? Swamps is either forest or water, and it has to be in this shape. And then, it's a square shape, polyomino.
Yeah.
And you have to draw it in on your lands, following all the rules. And then there's 4 rule cards in the game, of which you're going to score A and B in the first season, and then B and C in the second, C and D in the third, and then A and D in the fourth. And it's reminds me much of Isle of Skye. So it's very similar, where you take 2 scoring rules and you score them twice each game. And it's awesome. We played it twice back to back, which is very rare for our group. I thought I destroyed the second game, and I was playing with Christoph from Germany, and I had 101 points, and I was so proud. I go, I have 101. He goes, well, I have 128. I'm like, what? Ow. How could you? Because I thought I was like getting everything perfect, like I was doing everything needed. So,
and one of the things you mentioned about this is there is some interaction, right, between the players, because these little nasty cards come up.
There are ambushes, right, that can come up in a game, and it's monsters attacking your world. So what you do is you pass your paper to the right or left. I can't remember. I think to the right.
Depends.
And that person puts monsters on your map that obviously they put them in the worst possible places for you and the hardest to fill, because every space empty adjacent to a monster is -1 point. And so I think you can, like, I had -10 at one point, which because I could not get pieces in to fill the monsters in. So I was just like getting to that was the first game.
And one of the nice things about that is it happens at the same time to everybody. So everyone's groaning at the table.
Yep.
True.
It is like Penny Press. Yeah.
It is exactly
Penny
like
Papers,
Penny
yeah.
Paper Adventures, yeah.
Penny Papers.
Yeah, Penny Papers has a mechanism like that, which is monsters come invade your lands. I just think it's fantastic. The artwork's awesome. The cards are really nice. The font, the selection. If you pre-ordered it at Gen Con, I think they were giving out a player mat, which I got. Yeah, it makes it really...
They're giving out
and then
rolls.
I did not get... There's skills, right, in the game, and I lost those. Boo. But we're going to sell them in the BGG store, so I'll be able to get them. But the game definitely has a lot of staying power for me. And we pulled out the Sharpies. Like, I bought this one. I bought the colored multi-Sharpie thing on on a Amazon discount day or something, or a
Prime Day.
What was it? Black Friday kind of thing. Black Monday, Cyber Monday. And they've been sitting here, and I've just never had a chance to use them. We pulled them out, and everybody started coloring in their maps. So there's a creative part to the game too, where you can make the map very pretty and colorful. And I think, Steph, you were doing the same with your pencils and stuff.
Of course, always.
Of course.
Any chance I can.
Yeah. So I'm really impressed with Cartographers.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I think Thunderworks is a publisher that has really got my attention right now with Role Player and with Cartographers, which I also like. They have another game called Lockup, which is releasing, and it's really cool. So yeah, I'm on board with what they're doing. Now, Lincoln, I think you're on board with something that another publisher's doing. You had a little piece of story, didn't you, for us about Soaring Rhino?
Yeah, Soaring Rhino has a new thing that's a community-driven TCG-style game for 2 players where you will submit cards and art. And I don't know if they ever plan on selling anything. They're going to be releasing PDFs every 4 months or something like that. But it's called Massive Core, and it's already online. They have forums and stuff on their site. I don't know how much BGG will have to do with any of that. I'm not even sure how they're going to make money on it. But it seems like a really interesting idea. And it'll also grow design elements from the community themselves, where people can get into designing a game that ends up potentially being something from Soaring Rhino. It's really exciting. It's Craig Van Ness and Jeff Van Ness. Craig Van Ness is one of the Hasbro guys that worked on Queen's Gambit and a bunch of stuff with Rob Daviau. It's interesting to see what they're trying to do. It's something they've been thinking about for a while, and I'm interested in seeing how it comes out. Like, it's already rolling now, I believe. I got an email about last week.
Yeah, it looks like it's licensed under Creative Commons, right? And then they're going to release official content quarterly. So they'll probably put out, like, maybe something nicer that you can print, right?
Right. With the art integrated into the cards and things.
Yeah, I mean, I would pay for a printed product, but you could download it yourself.
And maybe that's where they're going, but they did not mention anything about sales on this stuff, at least initially.
Yeah. So rather than be crowd-funded, it's being crowd-developed. Is that the idea?
Crowd-developed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, Eric, there's a new game coming out from Reiner, Knizia, or is it a reprint of an older game?
Yes, Knizia has lots of games, so maybe this is not a big deal for people. What's funny, though, is looking at all the Spiel stuff coming in, I've found little that I've actually been writing about, just because I'm trying to keep up with the flow of information. One thing that stood out, though, was Tajuto, a game coming from French publisher Super Meeple that will be available at Spiel only in German from Abacus, which is licensed the game. Super Meeple does not have a retail presence at Spiel, and there's no English edition yet. So Tajuto is a big box game, and what's different about it is it's a weird kind of press your luck game with a tactile element where you are trying to build temples And the temples come in 6 levels, and like Super Meeple with Tikal and Java, they do these big 3D elements in their games. So in this game, as you're building temples, you are going to be reaching into a bag for components, and you can feel, oh, this one's a bigger piece, this one's a smaller piece, this one's a tiny top piece, and you can pull out the piece that you want, but you can only build, of course, from the bottom up. And you're going to be invested in certain things that you're trying to build, because there's 8 colors of temples in the game, but the game ends when 4 of them are complete. So you're kind of having a stock element in terms of what you're invested in and what you're trying to put your knowledge on, and then cap to score more with your knowledge. So you can dig in the bag and be like, well, this big one I know can be played because it's at the bottom. I don't care. Or I want to keep going on my red temple, and maybe this is the right size for it. So it's got this weird tactile element to it in a bigger box game. So I don't know. It just seemed like a different type of element. I guess we could go back for references to Dr. Shark, if anyone remembers that game from like 10 years ago. It was a Hurricane release. So this has a different element to it.
So Super Meeple won't be doing it with Luma in the United States?
Luma will probably do it, but that has not been announced and not official. And yeah.
Okie dokie.
So, Luma has been importing all the Super Meeple titles and making them available on the North American market in English language editions, but this has not been announced yet. So
okay. It's newly announced anyway, right?
Yes,
okay.
Just newly announced, mostly by Abacus, just because they'll have it for sale.
Yeah, I saw a flyer of that at Gen Con, and we were wondering why the bigger pieces and the smaller pieces would be in the same bag, because you're like, well, I just need a bigger piece, I could grab it. But now I understand why you would want
Press
to
your
do
luck.
that. Yeah.
It's an interesting take on Press Your Luck there. So just curious to see. Hopefully I'll be getting an advanced copy to preview that as well. There's so many previews.
Lots of previews. Where are you putting all these games, Eric? Your wallet is full.
Yeah, they're sort of piled
Starting
over
to fill
on
them up in the
right
garage.
Now.
Yeah.
Yes. I just got boxes shipped from Beth, who took a couple of boxes home from Gen Con. Those have arrived, so I'm starting to make plans for what I'm going to cover there. It's more, I just shovel them out the door as soon as we're done. That's it.
Steph, don't you have something to tell us about some crowdfunding that caught your eye?
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick shout out because Mr. Meeple, they make t-shirts and they're from Poland, and I just love my Captain Meeple shirt and I wear it all the time. And so they're on Kickstarter right now, so I just want to do a quick shout out to them because they make some cool geeky shirts. So
darn, if I'd been more prepared, I could have ripped open my shirt in here and I would have had one of their t-shirts underneath. I have a couple of theirs as well. They're really cool.
As do I. I like their shirts. I got the Captain Meeple, and I got the Cthulhu with all the dice and stuff around it.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Board Game Geek Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you for all the subscriptions and thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, why not hit the subscribe button and press that little notification bell.
Smash it. Smash that notification
Smash that bell.
Twirl it. Toss
it. To be notified
it.
On your desktop or phone when the new episodes come out. And notice, you know what? We didn't mention, we've moved all our videos to the Board Game Geek Express channel from the convention. So go subscribe to that too. Board Game Geek Express.
That's right. It's like a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah. And smash that one too. All the Gen Con videos are flying out.
The game review videos from Gen Con 2019 have started to go up on BGG Express. Dozens more to come.
Thanks everybody for watching. See you next time. Thank you to my lovely co-hosts, Rodney Smith, Linga Damerst, Steph Hodge, and W. Eric Martin. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.